You have to let this one go.
Yeah. Song brings back some memories. It makes me so happy. You want to keep going?
Yeah.
You're not ready.
Not ready yet.
All right. We're almost there. There we go. Oh my gosh. Stop while you're ahead. Stop while you're ahead.
Right.
Welcome back to Geoholics, episode 239.
239, believe it or not.
Indeed, producer Sean. You know what? I mean, it says episode 239.
It does.
But we have actually released, I believe it's 299 episodes.
Really? If you count all the conference shows and everything else?
Yep, almost 209. I think after we release the next one, it'll be 300, and we get our 300 episode badge from Podbean.
Oh,
it's a big accomplishment.
It feels like it.
Massive accomplishment. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's like 300 quality hours, at least.
Oh, that's a reach. In theory, yes, I would agree with you.
Right.
Yes. Oh man, but good to be back.
Love being back in the studio.
Thanksgiving, it was great spending time with family. How about you? Did you do the same?
Oh, of course. Did the thing. Turkey 3 ways.
Turkey 3 ways. That's freaking perverted.
Well, it's not meant to be. We have Friendsgiving and we cook turkey. We cook 3 different turkeys, 3 different ways. We roast a turkey,
that 3-way. I got
smoke a turkey, and deep fry turkey.
That's awesome. What was your favorite?
This year, it was still smoked, but man, that deep fried turkey was like right there.
Did you do it?
What's that?
Did you cook it?
Oh, of course.
So you cook them all?
Yeah.
Amazing.
No, my buddy Mitch does the roasted one. He's got a cool little pan thing that came out really. I mean, they all came out great. All different little flavor profiles, different.
Yeah, look at you.
But the smoked one was still awesome. He's got two young boys, and Evelyn was there. They're all trying to keep the fire going.
Awesome.
I set up like the little thermometer, so if the temperature dropped, they'd know to go in and put some more wood in it. And it was it's a good. And man, that deep fried turkey, man, it just came out perfect.
Yes, agreed.
What about you? Do you see all the daughters and the families?
We made a pilgrimage up to Prescott.
Okay,
everybody, myself, the lovely Megan, McKenna, Presley, their significant others.
Yeah,
went up to Prescott to spend the day with my mom. They headed back after lunch and some good times, and Megan and I stayed the night, and then we drove over to Pine and spent the weekend in Pine.
Oh, awesome.
It was a really good weekend. Loved it. It was cold, you wake up in the morning, it's like 30 some degrees. It just felt so good. I loved it.
I bet.
Kind of like Canada.
This
time of year.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, our guests, they don't appreciate our Thanksgiving.
No, they don't.
They have their own thing going on.
Yeah, they got all kinds of other cool stuff going on.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a second.
We'll catch up with them.
Other than that, and only other updates, we are winding down the year.
We are.
We've got some really cool episodes, including this one, to finish us out. It's a busy December for us, actually.
Yeah, Dimensioned episodes are going to be coming out here shortly.
Yep. Lots of good stuff. Excited to get those out. We've got our annual holiday episode coming up in a couple of weeks. That's always a good time, kind of reflecting back on the year, that type of thing.
All of our guest co-hosts,
everybody
and
will be on.
Basically the whole family will be on.
We're going to have a blast.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt about it. And
probably going to have to
buy another bottle of mezcal.
Well, yeah, that, and I was going to say, set up a ride home.
Yes, that's definitely a Lyft or Uber evening.
Right, sure.
No doubt about it. All right, let's move on. Let's go with the NLC Prep song of the week. God, I had a brain fart there for a second.
I heard that.
NLC Prep, of course, is for those dedicated to passing their land surveying exams in the very first try.
Mm-hmm.
To find out more, go to nlcprep.com.
I think our NLC Prep episode with Dr. Nettleman is out. Yeah,
it's out.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
That was a great one. I love that one.
I look back, we had these guys on before. Dire Straits. That was a song called Walk of Life. Dire Straits, a British rock band formed in London, 1977 by Mark Knopfler, David Knopfler, John Ilsley, and this is the great rock band name, Pick Withers. I mean, just a great awesome rock and roll guy. They were active from 1977 to 1988, and again from 90 to 95. Dire Straits won 4 Grammy Awards, 3 Brit Awards, 2 MTV Video Music Awards, and various other awards. They were included in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or inducted in 2018. Dire Straits have sold over 120 million units worldwide. That's a big number. We do these a lot, including 51.4 million certified units, making them one of the best-selling music artists.
Amazing.
They were that's one, like, wasn't that the first video on MTV?
No, it was not.
What was the first video on MTV? I thought it was Money for Nothing.
No, I think it was Video Killed the Radio.
Oh, that is correct. I believe. You are correct.
Don't hold me to it, but
no,
I'm pretty sure that's
I think that you are right. We have talked about that.
Don't test me with a 80s music thing.
Yeah, sorry, I was still.
You're still like in diapers.
Yeah, right.
Basically,
I think it was the computer graphics is what that song is. Famous.
That's true.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Remember the song "Pop Music"?
Yes,
yeah,
I do.
M Factor. Yeah, great song. All right, let's move on before we get completely off track.
Right.
We are in the David Evans and Associates studio this evening.
We are.
What sets DEA apart, even more than the quality of their work, is the quality of their relationships and the commitments they make. The DEA difference is reflected in 6 commitments and the seriousness with which they make them: clarity of expectations, effective communication, accountability, collaboration and teamwork, initiative and creativity, and most importantly, trust. Together, these commitments create authentic, meaningful relationships, effective solutions, and superior client experiences, which are the hallmark of the DEA difference. To find out more, go to DEAINC.com.
Our good friends at DEA are coming back next year with some sponsorship.
They are.
We're excited to have them back.
A friend of the program next year, which is exciting. And we are hiring, by the way. So visit DEAINC.com. Next up, Geomax Weekly Service Pro Tip. To find out more about Geomax, go to geomax-positioning.com. What you got?
I like this one. This is pretty good. So here we go. Just having satisfied customers isn't good enough anymore. Mm-hmm. If you really want a booming business, you have to create raving fans.
I love that.
Ken Blanchard, American author, business consultant, and motivational speaker.
Really good quote there.
Exactly how you create raving fans and how you create a booming business. I think these guys may be able to, our guest tonight may be able to help some people out with that.
Give us a minute. We're going to get there. All right. Next up, we have the GeoSearch Career Corner. Speaking of which, GeoSearch is coming back next year.
They are.
Absolutely. Super excited to have them back. To find out more, of course, go to geosearch.com. GeoSearch this week, they are seeking a highly skilled and experienced proposal manager.
Ooh.
Who isn't these days?
Yeah,
I'll take one. The ideal candidate will have a strong background in proposal management with other responsibilities, including
proposal leadership and strategy, compliance and quality assurance, proposal writing and content development, estimation and pricing, RFP research and management, proposal coordination and collaboration, documentation and repository management, and proposal tracking and reporting.
Ooh, that was a mouthful.
Yeah.
Nicely done. To find out more, visit geosearch.com today. And as always,
happy mapping.
Yes. We can. Are we going to let that go next year, or are we going to keep it?
I think we got to keep it. It's just corny enough that fits your personality.
Oh, perfect. Wait. These guys wanted to meet me a second ago.
Right.
All right. Our guests, of course, this week are sponsored by Airworks. To find out more about Airworks, go to airworks.io. Airworks' mission is to provide the data intelligence that powers the built world. Really cool stuff going on with those guys. Let's get to our guests. Quick self-introductions. Some of these names and voices are going to sound familiar because they've been on before at different times, type thing. So super cool there. Great to have them all together.
Absolutely.
We've got Doug Condor, Mike Heath, and Brian Ball with us. So Doug, if you would, I'm going to let you go first. I just gave your name away, but you can say your name, who you're with, and what you do.
Yeah, it's Doug Condor, and I'm one of the founders and directors of Cyanic Automation. We have a product called Jobbook, and it's a automation system, project management system for land surveyors.
Yes, and I can't wait to find out all we ever wanted to know about Jobbook this evening.
Oh, absolutely.
Mike, you're up next, buddy.
Yeah, I'm Michael Heath, same company, Cyanic Automation, Cyanic Jobbook. I'm the CTO here, so I take care of the technical end of things.
Yes, you do. And you do a great job at that, by the way. I don't know if Doug ever tells you, but I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, he doesn't say, not enough.
He doesn't?
All the time. All the
Doesn't say it enough, right?
That Doug. What are you going to do with that guy? All right, Brian. Last but not least.
For sure. My name's Brian Ball. I'm a land surveyor, and similar to Geomax Weekly having their raving fans, I'm a raving lunatic using this software, and I think that's why they called me in here.
I think you're right, Brian. I think you're right.
Nice. I like it.
Yes. Well, thank you guys for being here. This is going to be awesome. Before we get going, we have to do the Trimble Geospatial Icebreaker. Dedicated to big thinking innovation, together with their worldwide distributor partners, the Trimble Geospatial team is working with current and future generations of surveyors for a more sustainable future. To find out more, go to geospatial.trimble.com. And I can say this: I filled out the surveys from our experiences.
Oh yeah,
at the Dimensions here, 3 weeks ago, whenever it was, and it was so easy to do because everything was so fantastic. 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars.
Well, of course,
it was easy. Yeah.
And did I see there was going to be a Dimensions in 2025?
I think there is.
I think they're going to slip one in.
Yeah, I think so.
Stay
Stay tuned for more.
We have to update our calendar on
We
that
might
one.
have to. Yes. All right. Icebreaker this week is a good one. Doug, let you go first on this. If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
I guess there's 2 small parts to this. I guess, fixing my little part of the world would be the more serious answer. But
Sure.
The less serious one, I guess, would be for inventing the word snoo.
What is it?
Snoo. The
What
past
is
tense
it?
of snow.
Oh,
Yesterday it's
new.
It's new yesterday.
Yeah. Does that not work?
It sounds perfectly logical to me.
Well, here
It's going to snow tomorrow. It snowed today. Yesterday it's new. I think it's got
Well,
something.
I think he's onto something because blow and blue past tense, right?
Yeah.
Snow,
Snoo.
snoo. I like it. I
Welcome.
can buy into that.
Welcome to the party.
I like it. I like
You're
it.
in.
Good stuff, Doug.
Awesome.
Mike, you're up next, buddy.
I think probably just for building something that makes people's lives just a little bit better, a little bit easier every day.
Cool.
Like that.
Well, we're getting a little.
We're getting a
bit
little
of
echo. I don't know if you guys changed anything on your end. Nope. I think we're good. It's gone.
Yeah, we're
It's
good.
gone. All right,
Yeah,
Brian.
that was-
Brian, you're up next.
Sure. Here with a couple of respectful young men, and I'm the comedic relief apparently because I'm thinking if I could be remembered for one thing, whether if I could be remembered, it's regardless seems to be the way people remember me. It's just the level of energy we bring to stuff.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to do that, like make an impact. Sometimes my wife likes to say, if you don't know me, it's not my fault.
That's
like
a good
that.
one.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
a good one. Sean, what do you got?
I'm gonna have you go first because
Me go first.
yeah.
Why am I going first?
just because
I would like to be remembered for being a good father and raising 2 young ladies that are adding value to society.
okay.
And
Eventually,
I
we're
feel
gonna.
like I had a little bit to do with that.
All right. That's fair.
Give me the benefit of the doubt.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
All
They
right,
are very wonderful young
thank you.
women,
Appreciate
and you should be proud of that.
I am indeed. What do you got?
I was just gonna say, I think Doug said it before. Like, I want to be remembered for my impact on other people.
Yeah, that's great.
Whether that's whether good or bad, my goal is to make it positive. But I just want to have an impact on other people's lives in some way.
I can say that love you or hate you, you do have a way of impacting people's lives.
Oh, yes. I'll think about that later and decide if that's a compliment.
Don't
or
think about
not.
it. Don't think about it.
Just like anybody has the opportunity to light up a room, some when they arrive and some when they leave.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome. All right, let's get on with this. So, Doug, I'm gonna let you start out. First of all, where does the name Cyanic come from?
When we started the company in 2014, to be honest, we were just looking for like a website, and cyan is a blue color. That's in printers you have like 3 primary colors, and cyan is one of them. And so we did Cyanic, and then automation. Mike and I used to work at Honeywell.
Oh yeah.
And we did a lot of business automation for giant companies, and so we put Cyanic automation, and there you go. That was where it came from.
Good stuff. So
I
was
would
like
say It's
Go ahead,
actually
Mike.
quite hard to find a name that's not taken.
Oh,
Just
true.
Just all the .coms, they're all taken. So
Yeah.
I
Good
think
point.
it was.
So it sounds like you guys met at Honeywell. Is that a true statement?
Yeah, it was called something before. Like it was Matricon was the company before, and they got bought out by Honeywell.
Okay.
And then
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So when you guys decided to do this with Cyanic, was your target always to benefit the land surveying profession?
no. We started the company. It was kind of funny. We had another friend in Scotland, and he kind of planted the seed, and he's like, "Oh, we should all get together." And it was Mike and I and another person, and this guy in Scotland. And then he kind of backed away, and that kind of somehow planted the seed in Mike and I, and we went off and started a company ourselves. But no, in the beginning, it was just we knew that at Honeywell and at Matricon, there were a lot of large businesses paying millions of dollars to automate things, business automation ages ago. And we knew there were a lot of small to medium-sized businesses that needed automation that couldn't spend millions of dollars. So we were looking to kind of start there. And then by just luck and a bunch of different things, we ran into a surveying company that needed a system built, and we started with them. And then we're like, oh, these land servers, they're technical people. There's a lot of similarities between land servers and software people, to be honest. Like they're both real technical professions. And
so like, are software people horrible business people as well?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
There are similarities. You're right.
Yes.
A lot of parallels.
That's great.
We'll get into that, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead, Doug. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
Oh, no. So and then we start with that. We were like, oh, these guys are technical people, and they need the help. And so that's when we decided to build a product, build Jawbook, and that was many years now. And we kind of released it right when COVID hit, so it wasn't good timing, but it is what it is. And yeah, things have been going, other than COVID destroying the world in the beginning, things have been good.
Yeah.
Relatively.
So so you guys start Cyanic with Jawbook in mind? Was that something that came out later, or? And I'm really curious. I'm more curious about the origin story here, because we talked to a decent amount of software companies, guys, and I always want to know. Like, I know it starts in a bar or a lunch or something random where you're just like, hey, let's create some software. But how did you guys? How do you get going? Do you start with an idea? Do you find some smart people like Michael to help you, or how do you get that off the ground?
Yeah, because obviously Doug is the face of the outfit.
Clearly.
But with any business, if you do it properly, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to work for a company and then steal a bunch of customers and start your own company. But we weren't that smart. We started with nothing. Completely with nothing. Or maybe what you're supposed to do is you work for a company and then you kind of do something on the side until it gets big enough, and then you quit your job and then you just do that all the time. Yeah. We didn't do any of that. We started right at zero, and we're just with the premise of, okay, we want to automate things. And we did like some health and safety stuff, like health and safety forums, and we did a bunch of different things. And it's kind of a bit of a funny story, or not that funny, but there was a land surveying company that we worked with originally, and we built them a special system for cemeteries. And they were very happy with us. And then that company got bought out by this bigger company. And then that's when they came to us to say, hey, we need this business automation thing for our office. And then that's where kind of Jawbook came. But we did a lot of, like, kind of in the beginning, we did health and safety, and then we moved over to kind of timesheets. There's a lot of oil and gas. We're in Alberta, it's kind of Texas North. So a lot of oil and gas and LEMs, and they call them LEMs or DWRs, daily work records. And so that's kind of where it started. And then with the land surveying, they needed a lot of the similar stuff. And yeah, we went from there.
Interesting. So you've been working with surveyors for how long now? Since 2000 what?
No, probably 2017.
Yeah, 2017.
So long enough to know that there's challenges.
I'm sorry for that. Your experience.
Yeah. I'm one of them. So I
know.
I know firsthand. Talk about some of those challenges. And Brian, this is a great time for you to jump into the conversation as well. I'd love to hear, like, what were some of the challenges that you noticed, and what are you guys doing to maybe overcome them?
Right off the bat, I want to jump in and say, with this company starting like in a bar or something like that, it's like where all other bad decisions start. And
Yeah.
that really seemed to fit well into, let's find
Perfect.
some surveyors. In fact, they probably found a bunch of surveyors in the bar too while they were there.
Yes.
But
It's
no,
awesome.
the automation's a great point. And Doug mentioned it, and maybe he doesn't even know that it's there. But when you're on a site, everybody needs safety first. And it's pretty nice to just open an app and hit a couple buttons and, you want a copy? Boom, and it's sent and gone, and then you get to work. That's kind of nice. And
So wait, hold on a second. What does JobBook do for safety?
We have like a safety component to it. So there's some safety forms. Like
Nice.
they're all fairly generic, but it's there for you because everyone does pen and paper, especially when you're small. So this is just kind of digitizes that for you, so you can at least track it down and do stuff. But I find with the land surveyors, like there is a lot of similarities with programmers. Like both those professions are very technical, and you have people that just love the technicalities and solving problems and like the minutia of, like, I went to a lot of conventions with land surveyors, and you can get them talking about all the little like minutia of things, and everyone's all excited there. And the same with like the programmers, and they can argue about these little things. And programmers and surveyors, they just want to do their job. They just want to go and do surveying. And part of the problem is this whole business that everyone hates. Like running a business is so much more than just like doing surveying or doing programming. You have all this crap that you got to deal with, that, paperwork, bookkeeping, customer service. Like programmers and surveyors, they just want to like go and, just measure things, So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Very well said. So Brian, talk a little bit about your experience working with these two jokers.
Well, as we had the conversation earlier in a convention, so this wasn't even a numbered podcast where I was originally on Geoholics. The point is that surveyors are horrible business people. And so when you have a little input from the level of automation, it's like, okay, well, we can track some hours and that doesn't trickle through the cracks. And then we can track some jobs and that doesn't trickle through the cracks. And a lot of back and forth as well. It's just handy to have a system versus every surveyor that I know of probably would start with, no, I got it all on a spreadsheet. Probably starts with, I have it all in my head, and then it's like, no, now it's in the spreadsheet.
So what are some of the other problems that you guys are solving with this product?
Well, yeah, let's take a step back. I want to hear, so what Doug was saying was, you started with a problem of, or a use case of automating things, and then at what point did you go from just automating things to JobBook, and then lead into what that actually is and all the things that it can do?
So the one surveying company that came to us, they were using a really old piece of software that was made in the 90s, that hadn't been updated in ages, and it wasn't doing what they needed. So in the beginning, it was just, he was kind of telling us, here, this is kind of what I need. And then after that, when we decided to kind of generalize and go to all land surveying companies, we changed things and generalized it more. And just as a bit of a mantra, like when it comes to sort of automating things, a lot of people, when they start doing work, a lot of people do things the hard way. And, you
surveyors are perfect for that. We'll invent it.
And there's a lot of stuff in business where, like, you're working on spreadsheets or pushing paper all day, and it's like, is that really what we should be doing? And what we try to solve at JobBook is looking at those kind of problems. And if you're spending a lot of time on things that can be done with like computers, we go and we try to automate that. So whether it's like collecting all the timesheets, because a lot of jobs are T&M jobs, which means you got to collect all your timesheets and put that into an invoice. So we automate that, where it's just like you click on the timesheets and hit like make this an invoice, and boom, it makes it an invoice, and all your hours are just there. So it's things like that we help solve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a great quote on the website from Mr. Brian Ball here. This software is extremely helpful tool. I can visualize various job locations on the map and properly estimate costs for different projects. I can keep all client information in one spot so all of my colleagues in the company can stay up to date about our customers. That's high praise. That's an amazing tool right there. I saw this other quote on your website and I love it. Work smarter, not harder, right? And that's kind of what you guys are trying to accomplish here, or are accomplishing with this software. Talk about some of these other things that are happening. You know, you got on here on your website, which is the website's awesome, super user friendly, very engaging. I love it. Real time project monitoring. How does that work within JobBook? What does that look like?
So everything starts off with doing what we call DWRs, daily work records, timesheets.
Okay.
And it all starts there because that's where you keep track of all the time your staff are spending, all the equipment that they're using, and all the materials that they're using.
Nice.
So from that, by keeping track of that and getting your guys to do their timesheets every day, you then can figure out very easily, the system can, exactly how much you're spending on a job. So you know whether you're going over or under budget. Because even if you have like a lump sum job for $10,000 or whatever, if you still keep track of like your hourly rate for all your staff, let's, $100 an hour, let's, for the sake of math, it can very easily add that all up, and you can see exactly if at the end of the day, if you only burnt $8,000 and it's a $10,000 job, you're happy, or if you burn $20,000 on a $10,000, you're not so happy. And then you can see exactly, because it kind of surprises you about how many people, if you ask them, do you know if you're making or losing money on a job? Very few people can really truly answer that. Oftentimes they're looking at their bank accounts, or maybe
so true.
their accountant once a month.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, there's money in the bank. We're good. We're good.
Kent knows this is a special place in my heart on, there's those that operate based on their bank account and those that operate based on data and what actually matters and make their decisions based on.
Yep.
And it sounds like tools like this are extremely helpful for that.
Definitely. What about like in the position I'm in right now? Utilization is something that is talked about on a daily basis. Does this tool track that as well?
Yeah, and it's really interesting because that came. We have a utilization report, and actually that came from one of our customers. One of our customers, I was, I talk with a lot of our customers often, and he was using the system, and he's like, "Oh, the system's so great. We get all this timesheet data and everything, and I export this to Excel, and then I do all this work, and now it only takes me like an hour, and I can get my utilization." And I'm like
Like
wait
a true surveyor.
Yeah,
True surveyor. I'm taking it and I'm putting it in Excel.
yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute, why are you doing that? And he goes, well, I need to get utilization for like the people. I'm like, well, what are you doing? And he showed me what he was doing, and I'm like, give me like a couple of days here, and then we made that report for him. And all he does is push a button, and boom, he's got the utilization of all his staff, and things are off. And he's like, holy cow, like this is fantastic.
For the record, that wasn't me.
Whatever, Brian.
I mean, as hard as that made me to believe.
Oh, it's awesome. So it sounds like there's a lot of like time-saving tools built into this as well. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'd completely agree with that. And it's mostly because, especially when you're, like Doug explained, surveyors just want to do surveying. They don't want to do business. They don't, and normally they don't do it very well anyway. We would fire a business run by a surveyor. If, it's a lot similar to, I've heard it said with programmers, man, you wouldn't hire a programmer at the rate that you want to make, kind of thing. You'd fire them. They're bad spot for them. So our best spot is generating revenue through pleasing our clients, and then everything falls apart behind us because we don't know how to run the rest of that stuff.
Yeah. Good. Great point there.
So are you guys still, is it still customizing based on clients and customers, or are you, is this a kind of, you got JobBook and it's up and running well and everyone can just deal with it, or like, are there still new features being developed?
Yeah, there's always new features that we're developing with the product. The other thing besides time saving that it has, it really puts the company kind of on rails a little bit, where because we've worked with surveyors for so long, we've kind of distilled what best practices are for kind of running your company, where it's like, job creation, timesheets, getting someone to look at the timesheets and approve them, and everything.
Oh,
It
yeah.
really puts everything in a process where then at the end you have like an invoice that you can move to your accounting system and stuff. And one of the problems that we found too with a lot of land surveyor companies is, they're like, oh, invoicing, we do that with QuickBooks or our accounting system. And it's like, yeah, that's fine. But the project managers need to know whether they're making or losing money on a job. And they don't have access. They don't have access to QuickBooks. They don't have access to accounts. That's the magical accounting people.
And you don't want them to either, right? I mean, yeah,
you don't want them to, but they still need, because they're project managers, they still need to know for their projects whether they're making or losing money on their job. They don't need to see that Bob gets paid X amount of dollars an hour, but at $100 an hour that we bill him out for, are we making losing money? So that's where we're sitting with the project management tool and the processes that it kind of puts everyone in and allows them to do their job. I've seen companies where the project managers aren't approving timesheets. It's just the administrators that are doing that. And they really should be. Project managers should be doing that, because there's lots that can.
That's ground zero for
Seriously,
invoicing, right? is timesheet approvals. And when you get your codes right, that's what generates you a what I like to call a clean WIP report. Understanding what WIP is and then knowing that that's going to go straight to an invoice and straight to revenue and straight to all of these things all connect.
Yeah. Well, even more granular than that is the descriptions and stuff on the timesheets from that project manager's point of view.
Oh, sure.
He's looking at it going, okay, what I asked to get done in the field is actually getting done. So even at that granular level, he's seeing that, and then it's being approved, and then it's being moved on. So he has it's also works within the realm of checking what's going on.
Yeah, and I'm glad we're talking about timesheets, because that is like the crux of everything, right? Getting your timesheets done, getting them done on time, getting them done accurately. Is this just a desktop-based application, or is there an app as well?
So the application is completely web-based. So you can use it on your cell phone, on your tablet, on your computer. Okay. And the great thing is that there's nothing to install. There's no spyware. Your staff doesn't need to be worried that anyone's spying on them or anything like that. You just go to the website, they log in, and it behaves and looks just like an app on your phone.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what about, does it integrate with existing accounting systems?
Yeah. So we have it working with pretty much anything and anything you throw at it. So QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop, Sage, whatever. We're completely accounting agnostic. And they're like, yeah, we'll work with Deltek, whatever. We'll work with whatever accounting packages you have.
And then do you have and the big one I know I deal with mostly, and the key to profitability is out of scope and change orders. And I'm sure that's a common thing that you guys deal with. What kind of innovative things that you guys have developed to handle that?
Some of the things that we're doing, right in the field, you can get the customer to sign off on things. So when they ask you for change and you're doing an extra days of work, you can actually put that in, get them to sign off on it, to say, hey, you're approving this thing, that this change order or what have you. We do a lot of work with surveyors that do a lot of work with oil and gas companies. So there's a lot of these tickets, job tickets they call them, and it's different in every kind of region. But it's basically it's kind of almost like an invoice with no money attached to it, because the engineers at these oil and gas companies, they don't know anything about money. They can sign off on hours, but they won't sign off on money.
Dollars,
right, because they're like, well, I don't know anything about money, but I'll put my name to your hours, but I won't put my name to any money, because that's not my job, kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah.
So we made these tickets for that. Yeah.
So is there a component that aids in scheduling, like field crews and that type thing? Is there something like that incorporated into JobBook?
Yeah, we have a module for that, and it's tasking and scheduling, and it's a really interesting problem that land surveyors have. In the beginning, if you're just looking at it from 10,000 feet, you're like, oh, scheduling, easy. There's 1,000,001 scheduling software out there. But when you kind of dive a bit into it, scheduling for land surveys is very unique because, as an example, you have like a restaurant, right? So you have scheduling in a restaurant. Someone goes to, Sally needs to be at, this table, this time, this date, and yada, yada, yada. And surveying isn't like that. And then you have like a plumbing company where it's like, okay, go to this place and go to this house, that house, that house. But it's also not like that either, because in land surveying, you have this, it's like a hybrid system where you have both people out in the field doing work, but also drafting and office work that needs to get done too. And there's like a back and forth there that is really unique. So we built a system that's a scheduling and tasking system that you can create a template for tasks, and you create whatever you like. And there's like a Gantt chart where you can, this has to be done first, then that, then this, and that. And you say this is schedulable, which means you have like a little calendar, and you can drag and drop people on calendars so you can figure all that out. And when work gets done, when the guys say I finished, then the next person on the list that, like in that Gantt chart, like, so field work gets done, the guys doing drafting, they get a notification and they can see, hey, it's done. And now it's my turn to work on this. And they start working on it and then can go back and forth. So,
yeah. So who makes all this work? Is it Mike? Who is it?
It's clearly Mike.
It's mostly me.
Yeah.
It's the guy talking the least is the guy that makes it all work, is usually how these things work.
Always.
Exactly.
So Mike, is it like, so what, I have no idea how big of a company Cyanic is. It might just be you and Mike. I have no idea.
That could be a question you could ask.
How big is Cyanic Automation?
You new here?
Yeah, no, we're a pretty small company. There's just a couple of us here.
Oh, nice.
So like from a tech support perspective, people have questions and they want to add something or make adjustments, whatever. What does that process look like?
Yeah, well, for the most part, it's everything begins with a phone call, right? And we really need to understand your problem, what it is that you're looking for, and really just, we can take that and then we can just kind of make magic out of that. That's really like our development process.
Yeah, make magic out of it.
I like it.
So
I have to ask a difficult question.
To me or to them?
To them, not
Thank
you.
God.
Yeah, I know. And it may not be as difficult. Maybe it's a softball, but I'm sure Kent can agree with this. Like we've seen a decent amount of systems that do a lot of things, and they say that they've got it all figured out and all these different software platforms. And typically the hardest thing is that setup and that integration. And it just doesn't off the shelf. It's not going to be ready to go where all your people can just put in, talk about the importance, or maybe how you guys approach getting a customer onboarded and getting it really customized to where they can really get all the functionality out of it that it can do.
Yeah, I mean, we offer kind of white glove service to all of our customers. So anyone has a problem, they give us a call, and I walk them through it as many times as needed. Typically, what happens, we do a demo with them. They say they like it. We let them try it out for as long as they need. And once they say, yeah, they're good, we just start billing them. But for onboarding, after they see the demo and they want to try it out, we do an onboarding. And that's just me talking with them, with the administrator, showing them how to kind of set up the system in the back end, setting up all the line items, setting up, how to set up jobs and offices and what have you. It's very easy to use. A lot of, in the beginning, it's a little overwhelming, but then after like a day or two of actually using it, it's really easy for the administrators. For the site people, it's even easier, because all it is for a lot of the technicians is just really just hitting some buttons and doing their timesheets. I've onboarded like 20 technicians at a time on a Zoom call or something. And we go in and I just show them how to do it, and they have questions and everything's good. And it's kind of funny because oftentimes they just kind of talk with the company's talking to themselves because they're not having those conversations, and I just kind of shut up and let them kind of deal with things. But it's really easy, and if there's any problems, people call and we pick up the phone and help them out.
Yeah. What's been your experience, Brian, with integration into a system like this?
Well, and I've been around for a while watching it, and this is why, even as some of the questions were asked, well, if different things been added, maybe I've asked a few of those questions in the past, and I see the different functionality coming on board as they add more stuff. And I'll be blunt. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass starting anything. Like the first day you get a job and you're having to even upload, okay, where are we? What are we putting in here? You're starting with a blank slate. And even with this, you start with a blank slate, but then it's like, once you get the first project in and the first client, and then that same client gets another project. Well, that was easy. And then it's like, well, you're almost motivated once it gets easy to, okay, well, now you start rolling. And so I agree with Doug. It's a couple of days. It certainly is. Yeah. But it's like picking up anything new, and that's not
sure.
Well, and in my experience, the effort you put into it up front is a pain in the ass. It is, but the benefits far outweigh, because then you're just piling on, and before you realize it, you're completely relying on this. Yeah. And you can't imagine how you would manage a project or do anything without it. Sure. And especially how these guys are doing it before, right?
Yeah. And then you get to look at the report and you're like, I'm really glad I have all this.
Right.
Well, yeah. And informed decisions are way better than emotional decisions like Kent usually does.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just like me. But like surveyors are pretty stubborn for the most part. Yes. Right. So I think probably one of the biggest hurdles you guys have to overcome is like, oh my gosh, this is going to change everything. Oh my gosh, this is going to take months to incorporate into our workflows, blah, blah, blah.
But it's got to be the data that keeps them coming back, though, because once you finally show them, and I think Doug said it before, like you show them a report and it's like the light bulb goes off, like, oh man,
sure,
I can get this out of that.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. 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 So how do you make like that rejection? Like how do you overcome that one?
Yeah.
I'm sure you hear it often. I'm assuming you hear it often. It's like, oh my gosh, this is going to change everything for us, you know?
Yeah. For smaller companies, it's a lot easier because you have, you have really good leadership, right? Mm-hmm. And they can kind of push things through. It's when you get kind of larger companies with these kind of silos of information, these little realms of people. It's like, oh, I'm the accounting person, and if you need any information, you have to come to me, and you'll get it a week later, and that's just how it is.
Sure.
And when you try to change that, there's sometimes there's pushback, but if you have good leadership in the company and they can really push it through it.
Yeah.
What I found, I guess, is that you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, right? And you need someone on the other side to be the champion and to really be pushing it, because, on my end, I can only do so much. I can help you and all get you using it, but you need somebody on the other end to kind of be like, this is the way it is. I mean, we've had companies where they're like, the old system is gone,
You're
using this done. And whether it literally blew up on them or the CEO or president decided it's gone and that's it.
Yep.
That is exactly my story of the first day I had to run a robotic, and I'm like, and they're like, we're taking your old gun away and you don't even get it anymore. Figure this shit out. Pardon me for swearing on your podcast.
Yeah.
That's the first time that's ever happened.
It really is. You have offended the children, Brian.
Brian, you are exiled. You are not ever allowed back on the Geoholics.
Yeah. But in the same vein, though, when they give you that couple of weeks to play with the system, it's a loaded system already. So you're not having to build the system. Like Doug's like, here, these are existing jobs. These are existing people. Like they're all fake, but it's there, and you can play in the system and throw things in it. And okay. And the way it works is it's like you've got 20 projects already set up in there. And it's like, okay, well, I'm adding 21 of my own project, and I can always go to project 20 here and see what's the time look like, what the people look like, and all the processes. And sure, my 21's not filled in yet because I'm not there, but it lets you play with a system that's existing.
Interesting. Great perspective, Brian. Appreciate that.
I have one other thing I saw on the website that there's a CRM component.
Oh, interesting.
Talk a little bit about that and what that looks like, and how, again, we're talking about surveyors here or people in that space. It's talk about the advantages of having client resource management in the same kind of realm as everything else.
Yeah, our system is basically a one-stop shop for land survey companies. It's like the one piece of software to kind of manage your business. And before I did all this, I actually had a irrigation company a small irrigation company that I ran, and at the end, I sold that company. And when I went to sell the company to someone else, of course, they said, "Hey, show me all your customers. I will pay you X amount per customer." And I was very.
Hang on, let me pull up my phone and go through my contact list. And
Right.
I got it in my truck.
Right. And but that's important because at the end you have a land surveying business, and I mean they say this with software, and it's with every business really. Is you need like an exit strategy, and what's going to happen at the end, and how can you prove. If you're saying, "Oh, I have thousands of customers."
Hold on. There's an exit strategy in surveying.
Oh man!
Wow, light bulb.
Yeah, I thought it was survey until you die, and have someone else figure out what the hell you did after.
Exactly.
And buy your records for
pennies on the dollar, and your equipment goes in the dumpster.
So
pretty much.
This is the importance of like a CRM, because like we have a CRM. It's not like a Salesforce or anything like that, but it's enough. It does a job. You can have everyone there, and you have evidence now. And then when someone goes and wants to look at it, you say, "Here's our CRM. Here's all our customers," and it's all there. And they know you're not BSing them on anything.
Yeah.
If you start just a piece of Excel paper just listing names, you could be anyone. But if you have it in a system like this, it's very easy to value. It's very easy to contact these people. Everything is all in one place.
Doug's picking on my Excel spreadsheets again. I can just tell.
Well, there's a lot of value in being able to,
Hey, Sean's a big spreadsheet guy.
I am, but I like to think I'm more of a data guy. And we're in December. This is the end of the year time. This is the time you're like, what are we going to do next year? And the first question is, okay, well, what worked this year? Who was our top 5 customers? Like who generates the most revenue and who has the best margin? And you would be surprised, and I'm sure these guys can comment on it, like how hard that's to put together if you don't have all your stuff in one place and a report that you can push a button and get that answer.
Mm-hmm.
And like Doug said, I asked the accounting guys, and a couple weeks later they'll spit out some information that is it's probably got some hair on it. It's like not exactly a correct representation.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's the intent of trying to round out this whole system of not only just day-to-day planning, but future planning, right? I mean, it goes back into the bigger question is how do you get past the surveyors are terrible business people?
Mm-hmm.
You make it easy for them.
Yeah.
Make it easy for them. Yeah.
And that's what the software does. And the CRM is like great for customer support too. And you can just, someone calls, you just look them up real quickly and you can see all the information, any attachments, any deals you had on them. So
Doug,
that's the right answer too, Kent. Like make it easy. That is
make it easy. That's what you got to do. Exactly.
It's not going to happen if it's too hard.
Yep.
It's just simply not going to happen.
The easier you can make it, the more successful it's going to be, for sure. You're going to sell the shit out of it. Doug, I have a question for you. So would you say that this platform is more conducive to a smaller survey company or a larger survey company? Like what are your, I'm assuming like your smallest users are mom and pop shops of 3, 4, 5 people, but like what are some of your larger clients?
And also,
not name the clients, but size.
And what's the sweet spot for you guys?
Yeah.
Like what's ideal?
Yep. So we have mom and pop companies, and we have customers that are well over 100 people using our system, and so for me, I'm biased because my sweet spot. I like it when the company is like 10 to 20, where they're going from pen and paper or Excel into our system. If they're like 50, you're always competing with, like, I call it like competing with the ex-girlfriend, right? It's like, oh, our this system did this. How come yours doesn't? It's like, well, We don't. That's
It does. It just looks slightly different,
Yeah.
and you think it's different. You think
Yeah.
it doesn't do it, but it actually does. It just,
Yeah.
yeah.
So my bias is like 15 to 20, because at that point, at least what I see in surveying is by like 15 people or more, like you're starting to feel a lot of pain. Like you can work with Excel, up to 10 people, but then once you start getting away where the owner is like once removed from the jobs, all of a sudden you start losing like that visibility, and you start needing a system to know like what are your PMs doing, like what is happening on our jobs. You can't do that with Excel. So that's why I like 10 to 20 people. Like at 20, you have to have software, or you're going to be dying with your administration costs. Like you'll be hiring, for every technician you hire, you'll have to hire another administrator just to deal with all the people.
20, 30, whatever.
And I'd support that from the big companies that I've worked for in the past. Once you get to those larger companies, the administration runs a lot of stuff, and the project management almost has less power than their accounting group. And like you said, you ask the accountant for some information, you get it a couple of weeks later, but they won't let the PMs at the numbers, and it's like they don't want the inmates running the asylum.
Sure.
So that they're,
with a lot of engineering companies, I find with sort of survey departments, and the problem with engineering companies is engineering is it's similar, but it's very different. Like engineering jobs take a lot longer. So I think the administration and the companies have no problem with giving you the data a week later and thinking that's okay, and not realizing, surveying work moves quickly, and you can't wait a week for your data. In engineering, jobs are months, quarters long, years long, and it's like, well, a week is quick for them, but in the surveying world, that's not good. That's not good enough. So we speak to a lot of surveying departments instead of engineering firms that are using our software, and then we kind of integrate into their whatever they're using, whether it's Deltek or whatever.
Most of them are dragging their feet, getting their IFCs out anyways. So that's typical engineering firms. I don't know if it's different down the south side there, stateside for you guys.
It's not. It is all the same. Yeah.
It's not. Something else that's interesting is, we're in an interesting time as a profession, and where I'm going with this is like, Doug, you mentioned these firms, 20 to 30 people, 50 people, what have you. These are the firms that are getting bought out left and right at this point by larger companies, right? And I feel like it would be very beneficial for firms of that size to have something like JobBook in place. So when a suitor comes on board, like, hey, we would like to acquire you, but we need some data. With JobBook, you have that data readily available.
Well, Doug talked about that earlier. Like,
Wait, was I sleeping?
Yeah. Okay. You kind of blinked there, but well, also, if you go back to, what was that, like 20 episodes ago, we had some great guys on that talk about mergers and acquisitions, and one of the thing was, we need to know what your customer base is, and I don't know that, like, are you making money or not, and what's working and what's not, and a lot of these companies have no idea. They think that I got this work and I got all this equipment and I'm worth this, and there's nothing to back it up. Yeah. But with a platform that can actually tell you.
Sure. Yeah, that's where I'm going. Yes.
And really, in my experience, the number one thing that you can never escape from is, here's how much I billed my client, and here's how many hours were in that project. That is an easy calculation, and it's okay. Here's what the overall dollar per hour is, or whatever that overall multiplier is, and that is, a wealth of information when you have it by project,
Did you pause?
person, but I figured it out 10 years ago. I sorry. I was saying some really revelationary stuff that you guys must have missed.
That's all good.
But it was all good.
It was great. It was all like, you guys have been like nodding your head like, man, that guy, he's got it. Yes.
I'm still mesmerized by what I just heard.
Divine intervention, having a business savant sitting across from me, Kent. It's crazy.
I think my lucky stars every Thursday night.
With that data though, like adding to that, I mean, we know of survey companies that have tried to buy other survey companies and they backed away because those other companies didn't have a system in place, and they're like,
Exactly.
their system's a mess. We have no clue what's going on, and
Yeah.
you know, it's important because yeah, like, and if you don't have that data, you could like we've seen in where we're from in Alberta, like large survey firms go belly up because they didn't have a good system in place, and they were
Yeah.
just and all the workers there were like, they're like, how did this happen? Like we're working for like these giant oil and gas companies. How does a company that like has contracts with these giant oil and gas companies making money hand over fist go bankrupt? And it's like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
Well, it
happens all
was
the
in that
time.
episode. It's like
Ugh.
that's one of the first 5
Crazy.
questions that someone that's going to buy another company asks is, do you have a project management system or some way to to keep all this data? And when the answer is no, the response I got was, the value goes down a little bit.
For sure. Absolutely.
So if you are in that 15 to 20 person space and your plan is, I'm going to build this up a little bit and sell it, you better get your shit together is what the message is.
Yeah. Thanks for taking my topic of conversation and running with it. I appreciate it.
Yeah. That's
and
what I do
making
here.
it even better than what I thought it could be.
You got to do something
man.
while you're sleeping at the wheel, then, Kent. You know how.
Yeah, right.
Well, okay. So, my gosh, we're almost an hour into the show already, but there's a couple other things we need to make sure we talk about. I think we've done a fantastic job promoting Cyanic Automation's job book. And if anybody listening right now, anyway, still listening at this point,
Oh, sure, they're around.
is questioning whether or not they need something like job book, I think the answer is pretty clear. You need to be giving these guys a call. And on that note, Doug, how do people find out more about job book?
Head over to getjobbook.com. So HTTPS getjobbook.com. All one word there. And yeah, on the website, there's like a contact us, and we have like the calendar is hooked up to my calendar. So anytime that's free, just book yourself in, and we'll start a Zoom call and show you the system.
So if they actually make a phone call, are they going to talk to one of you two that are actually celebrities now?
Yes. If you phone us, one of the things I think we had on our website is, we pick up the phone, and we really
Love
do.
It's important.
You
It's the
call
only
us.
thing they haven't automated, apparently.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Honestly, because like I like helping people out, right? I mean, what our software does, it really frees a lot of people, frees their time. One of the good stories that we had from one of our customers, it was a mom and pop shop. The father was a surveyor. The 2 daughters were, working in the company. And before job book, they were spending every Sunday doing all the payroll and all the paperwork, so they could on Monday things would start going. And they started using our software, and they told me, Doug, like, we have our weekends back, and that really made me feel good, because like, these are people that, like, instead of spending time with their kids or doing whatever it is they're doing, they're on the weekends. Like these small businesses, right? Like anyone here that runs, like, I run a small business, like the work never ends. There's no Sunday, there's no Saturday. You're working, 24/7. And it felt really good to be able, like, to hear it from them, to be like, hey, like, you gave me my weekends back. I can be with my kids now.
Yeah. That's got to be one of the most rewarding things, actually. It's like this product that you guys have created is improving the quality of life for people.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the ultimate compliment, right?
Yeah. And it was great to hear, and we're really happy. Like, forgetting about the fact, like, there were other companies that they're like, oh, we found $80,000 of unbillable in a month. It's like that was good, but the best was like when she told me, I have my weekends back.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
awesome. That's awesome.
Let's talk about the future a little bit. And I'll kick this to Mike. What are you cooking in the lab there, and what are you developing next?
Yeah, we're working on some really cool AI features to the product, and it's I know there's a lot of companies out there just trying to shoehorn AI into everything they can find, and it doesn't really make make much of a difference. But like we've got some really good ideas here of how to make, the whole process of timesheets and timesheet entry a lot less painful. So just stay tuned, and hopefully we'll have something to show you guys sometime
That's
next
awesome.
year.
Yeah, I think you're going to have a lot of happy surveyors and surveyor assistants there of making it less painful.
Yeah.
I'm cracking up right now. When you're asking him that question, like, what are you cooking up in the lab? I'm watching Breaking Bad for like the.
Oh, are you really?
Yes. So I got it. Mike Heisenberg.
There it is.
Mike
Yeah.
Heisenberg.
He's cooking up a special recipe.
Too much.
So you got some other cool stuff going on. The business of land surveying, the blog that you guys have. Talk about that just a little bit. There's tremendous value there that you guys are publishing, and I want to make sure that people are able to find that.
Mike, what?
Yeah, I could start off. So, when we were starting this, however many years ago, we were trying to find a community where, like, business owners in the space could go and like kind of talk about their problems. And we had a real hard time finding that. We couldn't really find much of it. So we ended up just like creating our own. So there's the Business of Land Surveying. It's a LinkedIn group. You can just search for it and try to join it. We'll let you in. And there's also a newsletter that we publish every once in a while as well, just from content that we find. Like we were always looking for like where are all the best practices and what can really help you out, in your business. And the whole idea is like we want to be helping you guys. And so check out the group. There's like years of content in there, and hopefully there's something useful for someone out there.
Canadians are the best curlers, best people.
Well, you haven't asked that question yet, and I think it's a good time.
Which question? Curling or hockey? What do you prefer? What do you guys prefer, curling or hockey?
Hockey.
Yeah, it's hockey all day long.
Doug, come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Come on.
Wow, there it is.
I play hockey, but curling is awesome. Like it's a great, like if you're out with some friends and some beers, it's a great, like nothing beats, having some drinks and curling. You can't really do that. Like I play in a beer league and we drink after the games and a little bit on the bench, but like you can't do the kind of drinking you can do curling that you can do.
Yeah, true.
So
you can overindulge in curling. It doesn't matter.
No, you're good.
You probably get better.
Yeah.
You probably
I love that.
I know I do. So Brian, I would be remiss if we didn't mention this. We met in Mont-Tremblant, actually.
Oh, yeah.
At the Canadian National Survey Conference. Is that right?
Absolutely. Au Montreal.
Oh, man. That was beautiful. It was a great conference. It was a beautiful setting. But one of the things I remember we talked about was the Wolgar Geomatics College, right? Yes. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about that, maybe give some updates. What's going on there?
We're putting a bunch more of it online. Again, we're a small volunteer group, like everything is in Canada, let's say. We seem smaller up here than massive groups down in the States. One thing that is funny, and I know we mentioned it when we were talking in Montreal, and when you're talking with Doug and Michael about it, they're like, it's very hard to find a name and it's hard to get a website, and surveyors are not involved at all. And we mentioned it. So our website is geomaticscollege.com. It's like, gee, really? That was so easy to find.
Wow.
And
that's your website?
That's our website, geomaticscollege.com.
How the heck did you guys get that? That's amazing.
Because we're surveyors and we're not software people. All the software people, they run out like that. Yeah. Surveyors are too busy trying to make a spreadsheet to
about 20 years behind.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, that's amazing.
So we've had some great presentations and stuff like that. Of course, it's been a busy fall for us. We had a little bit of an extended winter. And so with our volunteer group, everyone's been flat out, and it's been a little tough getting some of our recent, let's say, seminars, webinars going on. But we did have a full slate pre-professional surveyor exams. And so that's what we're doing in Alberta, because we're very localized into this province where we're supporting articling land surveyors getting their commissions. Yep. So much like what's going on in the States, and there's a bunch of groups that you guys have set up to do that, we're just a small group helping. My gosh, there's only 50 articling land surveyors in Alberta. There's only 400
Wow.
practicing land surveyors in Alberta.
Crazy.
Not a lot of land surveyors.
Wow.
In our world, right?
Amazing.
We're there with you.
Making
So Brian-
spreadsheets and tracking timesheets.
Brian, I'm curious, like here in the States, we have one of the challenges we're facing is like deregulation of land surveyors, right? And it's a real challenge, and it's only going to get more. It's only going to become more of a hurdle. I'm just curious. Do you guys have any of those type issues up in Canada?
And I don't know that I'd be calling it deregulation, in as much as it seems to be the professional organizations that we are part of, that we are the associations.
Sure.
They don't really want us policing ourselves. They're looking to say, no, we don't want land surveyors on the board monitoring land surveyors. We would rather just have a public board that monitors what the land surveying industry is doing.
Yeah, that sounds like a terrible idea.
It sounds an absolute, because land surveyors, again, they're too nice, which is why they're such horrible business people. They're like, yeah, this is really expensive. How about I do it for nothing?
Yeah, that's like you realize how blatantly honest to a fault these guys are. Like they will spend way too long and not get paid for it just to make sure it's right. And
exactly,
you're like, oh well, let's let this random person that doesn't know anything about this industry regulate it.
And makes no sense whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. And so that's been a little bit of a struggle, let's say, with the regulatory bodies. Are no longer our associations. They are in name, but they are really moving away from that, which is why Professional Surveyors Canada, which was part of that National Surveyors Conference, if you remember, they're starting to put on webinars and stuff like that. That's more entertaining. And actually, I'll be probably forwarding you a guest option. I asked her if she wanted to be a guest on your web or on your podcast, and because it's about surveying during and after natural disasters.
Be amazing.
Oh yeah, we love that.
Let's do that.
We have no shortage of natural disasters, apparently.
Yes, we do not. You guys do not.
But this is the Surveyor General of BC who put on that webinar, and she reached out in Hawaii after all the fires there. Because what happens is at these natural disasters, you're doing a cleanup, and guess what? We're just going to take a cat, and where's all the survey evidence going? As these cats are running through these subdivisions.
Yeah, and that's a good point. We've talked with the guys that are in Hawaii, and especially in dealing with some of the cleanup in Maui from the fires there in the Lahaina, and a big part of there, and a big part of NSPS, which is a big, the national organization here, is the preservation of monuments, and FEMA here it wants to come in and clean up, as they absolutely should, but their cleanup is, all right, well, we got to bulldoze the top 2 feet and get rid of all that stuff, and that gets and especially in a place like Hawaii where those monuments, there's not a city hall that's got catalogs of I mean, those monuments are the only thing that ties property records, and for them it's property records of who that property has been passed down from generation to generation, and that's the only record they have, and the cleanup effort, like you just said, is going to blow all that out. So
you know what I love, you know what I love more than anything else? When you are sympathetic to surveyors.
Well, my sympathy is going to take me to Hawaii.
Was that sympathy or was it empathy?
I'm not sure which one. But the Geoholics are going to go without Kent to Hawaii to the Pacific Rim Geospatial Conference.
Kent is not allowed in Hawaii,
so we can highlight some of these things. And really, I mean, if there is no better mission for a surveyor and then somebody like us and like you guys is to bring some awareness to things like that, because people don't know about it, and if they knew what could happen with just bulldozing the top 2 feet of something like that after a natural disaster, it's the awareness that we want to do, and that's the best thing that we can possibly.
And it's not just fires;
well said, buddy.
Hurricanes and earthquakes. And
Absolutely.
An earthquake, and it's like the land.
It all changes. It all changes.
100%. Yeah.
It's insane.
And it just seems like those natural disasters happen in the places that are the oldest and that have the oldest records or non-existent records, and those natural monuments are the only thing they have.
Yeah.
Great
just
point.
this past summer, I don't know if you are much aware of this, but Jasper National Park had a large forest fire, and
massive. Yep.
Massive. And when you look at the
Sure.
plan, because the entire town site's effectively one plan. And so it's all tied together. But
Crazy.
You spoke with the Canada Surveyor General at one point in time.
Mhm.
He was in contact, and everybody kind of got their things. And I don't know what your plan would be called, or where in BC it's a posting plan, in Alberta it's more just the plans that we put out there, that they're not governing, but it shows where everything is. I don't know what you guys have there in the States just to do that.
Yeah, no, we have a monument preservation movement, no doubt about it. Yeah, and like I spend a lot of time in California, and California is always moving. So what we're talking about here is very like near and dear to my heart. You know, I mean, it's insane. It's insane to be able to keep track of everything. What else? You got anything else you want to get out there, buddy?
I think this has been a great conversation.
I love this conversation. Doug, anything else you want to get out there?
No, I think that's about everything. I don't know, Mike.
No, I think that's good.
They're
You guys
done
did an
beating up on
amazing
surveyors
job.
for just a little while, right?
Yeah. Anything else, Brian, you want to get out there?
No, this is great. It's great to chat with people and see you guys again.
You guys are awesome. And it's always a great show when an hour goes by in like 15 minutes.
It does.
You know, it's a great conversation. Do you have anything else, Sean? You want to ask him your favorite question ever?
Well, I would like to ask the last question that we always ask
you should
everybody.
probably do that. Yeah.
We do it to everybody. I'm not sure if you guys are prepared, but I am going to go around the horn, and I will start with Brian. Brian, do you have a mantra that you live by?
I'm taking notes.
Yeah,
This is
that's
going
a
in the
really
book.
good one. Yeah, I do actually.
Yes.
Of course he does.
My mantra is you can measure the size of the man by the size of things that make him mad.
You can measure the size of the man, but
By
not
the size of the things that make him mad.
You can measure the size of the man by the size of the things that make him mad.
It's a lot to type, but okay.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking about what pissed me off this last week, and it's not flattering.
I was driving in Calgary traffic yesterday, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, right. I'm that guy.
So wait, if things like that make you mad, does that make you a smaller man?
You're a small person.
If you're asking the question,
yes. If you get pissed off at traffic, that makes you a smaller person.
Yes.
Welcome to the conversation. Mike, what do you got, buddy?
Tiny white ball that you hit with the club. If you get mad at that little thing, same thing.
That's a different conversation.
In that conversation, Sean's like a freaking. He's like this.
Michael, what do you think? Do you have a mantra that you live by?
Work smarter, not harder.
My favorite.
You cannot go wrong there.
All right, Doug, you're on the hot seat, buddy.
It's the same. It was the same one. Work smarter, not harder. It's on our website.
Works for us.
And yeah, that's what we like doing.
That's what everybody should like doing. Why do people insist on working harder, not smarter?
Well,
I don't understand.
Yeah,
I never understand. It's like the definition of insanity.
I mean, I could literally rewind the episode what we just talked about an hour from ago, and it's literally the surveyors just love putting that stuff in the spreadsheet, and they love. Yeah,
God,
yeah.
I'm so glad I'm not one of them.
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh, here we go. Let's wrap this up. You ready, buddy?
I am. Let's
do it.
What a
great show. I enjoyed this conversation.
I know.
Anytime we have friends from the North on, I just get a warm feeling in my heart.
And a friend of the program.
The warm feeling in the cockles. Yes, in the friend of the program, exactly. Adding value and making friends. That's what we do on the Geoholics. If anyone would like to be a guest on a future show, shoot us an email at info@thegeoholics.com. We're booking into February 2025, actually.
February.
Dire Straits, Walk of Life, available everywhere.
It is.
Until next time, everyone, bring Sean to water, but you can't make him drink. You can measure the man by the size of the things that make him mad.
I really like that.
That's deep. That is like ingrained in my brain right now. Work smarter, not harder. Love that one. And most importantly, as always, be safe and healthy, everybody. Actually, you can make Sean drink.
Bring Sean to mezcal.
Nice.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
scotch and water.
Done and done. Ah, that was good, guys. That was awesome.
Yeah.
It worked out well, but the fact that you guys were all in the same room, I'm glad we got the whole microphone thing figured out because the audio came out really crisp. I think it was good.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah,
couple
yeah,
spots where like
Well-
I think the internet may have dropped off or
Well,
something.
when
but
the internet slows down,
Yeah.
the echo cancellation has to
catch
hear
back up or
you,
something, or?
process,
Oh, okay.
remove. So if it's delayed, it's going to
Gotcha.
catch some echo. But
Yeah.
For the
You know,
most
we-
part, I was muting my mic while I was not.
yeah, you know, but